Hello everybody, it's the 22nd, no it's not, it's the 25th of... So now we're going to concentrate on this tree that I had thought about, or that I want to make into a sort of semi-classic broom style apple. The buds are starting to burst on the ends, so it's time we did some work on this. And I had thought about trying to fit it into this sort of half seed tray, which is kind of in scale, but isn't going to leave much room for the roots to develop to power the top. So I'm going to put it into this large pot and use that as a training pot, and I think that'll give it a lot better head start in putting on some good growth and good ramification. So let's get it out of this pot. I can use that as a training pot for other trees. It's not a bad little pot, it was just one that some bulbs came in. So much nicer than that yellow thing that the daffodils came in that I was using. Any of you remember that? If you can remember it without shuddering, like me. Anyway, let's clean the top off. There's a bunch of weeds, so we want to get rid of those. See what the Nabari looks like. That's not too bad. Strange old root sticking up a bit there, but that can be teased down. Okay, so that's not bad. I'm going to try and pull out some of these roots that are just going roundly round, because they're not much good. And we'll cut those away. I see no real need to pull the root ball to pieces. As we have a reasonable Nabari already, fairly radial. A few of the roots are sticking up a little, but they can probably be tucked into place with a little pin or something. So yeah, I think all I'm going to do with this is stick it in a pot. Make sure that I've got the roots teased out a little, so they'll go out into the new medium. But yeah, that'll be fine. So I just need to find a front. In terms of the roots, that's quite a good one, and I quite like this little curve, and it's not bad placement of branches either. So I mean, it's pretty much how I had it on the bench in the old pot, and I kind of like it like that. So yeah, that's what I'm going to go with. Okay, let's get some soil in the pot. Mix in some controlled release fertilizer. Nice little slot for that to fit in, like so. And I think I'm going to have it over this side a little. This first branch is coming out that way, and we have this kind of little kink in the trunk line there as well, so that's quite nice. Okay, yeah, a little bit further back maybe. Okay, that's good. I'm not going to be too delicate, I'm just going to fill it in. Sorry about showing you the bottom of my bucket. It's better than showing you the bucket of my bottom, if you see what I mean. Okay, so that root's going to sit quite nicely there. Persuade that root to lie in place there. Another little pin, a spare piece of wire. Right, so we'll just persuade that root just to sit where I want it for now, and then once it's settled into that position, it'll stay there for good. Lovely. Another little bit of fertilizer in the top layer so it'll leach down through, leach watering down into the bottom of the pot rather than out the holes. As I say, this tree was just a sucker taken from the roots of an apple tree. It's a very nice eating apple, but I doubt if this will ever produce a nice apple. You never know, never say never, but it seems unlikely then that it'll, being a sucker, it'll ever produce a particularly nice eating apple. So now it's just a question of, I'm going to take that back to that little spur there. I don't like that piece. I'm going to shorten that back to a bud there, and move that piece of wire, shorten it to a bud there, and shorten that to a bud there, and there you have it. That's all I'm actually going to do. In fact, no, I'm going to cut that piece back a little more because there's a bulge just here. Apple trees do that from time to time. But yeah, so that's all the work for that one. Fairly straightforward. One day, perhaps we'll have a nice little crown from it. I'll insert a picture showing you where I got the... Okay, so here's the apple tree. Lots of blossom, which is nice, and at the base of the tree, oh, a whole bunch more of these suckers growing up from the base, and well, just try and get rid of them at some point. Whether I save them and try to grow them on or not is another matter. .360, not a very impressive tree at the moment, but hopefully it'll develop as the years go by. Hopefully you'll stay subscribed and be here to see it. Okay, so a quick look at these apple suckers. Oh, sorry, I'll just reread that. A quick look at these apple suckers which came from the base of my apple tree. Sorry, I couldn't resist. I've just given this a bit of a trim back off camera because I'm an idiot and I forgot to press record. And I just removed a couple of little dead stubs, shortened back some of these long growths, and it's probably the least interesting of all of them. It's got a very dead straight trunk, bit of a weak nabari, no real flare or anything as yet. I'm not entirely sure I like this piece that's coming back in, but it does have something, and it's a lot easier to cut things off than it is to put them back on if you think you've made a mistake afterwards. So I'm going to leave it, and see where it goes. It can always come off later. Another one, here's another one, and this one kind of has a look of an old tree that's in an old orchard that's been bashed and battered and fallen over, possibly with the weight of the fruit. I'm gonna just give it again a chop back, take off that piece that's growing straight up inside this, and shorten these pieces back. In fact, I'm going to remove that. I don't like that piece. There. So yeah, just a very brisk chop back. I don't like that piece either. And again, I'm not a fan of this piece, which I think I could wire. I'm going to wire. Let me find a piece of wire. Some wire, my kingdom for a wire. There we are. I keep lots of offcuts kicking around. I reuse whenever I can. It just seems very wasteful otherwise. And this day and age, I think we're all a bit more mindful of where things come from and where they're going to, and it would be a shame to see things like that go into landfill or whatever. I know you can take it to a recycling centre, but that's not particularly easy at this time, although it is getting easier. There we go, just roughly wire that into a slightly more upright position. That's better. Yeah, liking that. That's much better. Give it a twirl. A lot of work needs to be done on this tree, or these trees, but hopefully over the years it'll turn into something. Okay, so these two were just popped into a pot, and they were a bit something and nothing, and they're just going to be allowed to grow. But this one I have chopped back because it was growing away very strongly. This one hasn't grown away as strongly, so I'm just going to leave it for the time being, and we'll chop it back later. Again, quick twirl, quite two-dimensional. I don't know if they'll always stay together, maybe not, but for now they're quite content to sit cheek by jowl in this training pot. Okay, so here's another little one. This one's growing well. Again, I'm going to cut it back some just to promote that ramification we want, but it is growing very well. Who knows if it'll ever flower nicely. You can never tell with a sucker from an apple tree. Could be rubbish, but it'll be a tree. Whether it'll be a flowering tree is another matter. But this one at least has got some interesting movement. It comes out of the ground and lurches off, and then we have some interesting movement to counterbalance with this branch or secondary trunk. I'm not sure which yet. And yeah, this one definitely has a little more potential. Thank you so much for watching. Please do take care of yourselves. Stay safe, everybody.